on
This
Facebook.
conference will now be recorded.
Okay, brilliant. So I would like, sorry guys. So could you all please turn your microphones off, please, but keep your cameras on so I can see your gorgeous faces, all of you. But turn your microphones off so there is no disturbance or distortions to the video and the conference. All right, so I'll just wait a couple more minutes and I'll walk you through the steps of what's involved in today's conference. Sarah is asking, is there any problem with connection? I don't think so, Sarah. Perhaps it might be from your end. Dr. Moser should also be joining us at some point after he finishes his Facebook conference. So he'll come and join us at the end. That will be splendid to have him in our presence as well. We'll make a start in the next 5 minutes, guys. All right? So who here is feeling excited about today? Excited or nervous, a bit anxious? Very eager to share your story? I'm seeing different people's emotions, mixed emotions, lots of smiles, which means it's great. Thank you for that, Salima. Yes, he will join us very soon, which is brilliant. So what I'll do is I'm going to be playing 2 videos, okay, at the start. In fact, 3 videos. The first video will just sort of show you, I suppose, the overview of the conference, what's involved, and the next video will show the participants who will be sharing their stories today, okay? And then the third video is my keynote speech. So I've actually pre-recorded my speech. And once that's finished, I'll open the forum for questions and queries. Once that's over, I will get you all to share your story with us. So you turn your microphone on, camera turned on, and you provide a quick summary of your story in under 3 minutes or so. And then I'll ask you some questions. And then the conference is finished. All right. But at some point, Dr. Moser has asserted and has said to me he wants a picture with all of us smiling for Facebook. Okay, so at some point, I want everyone's camera turned on, those who are speaking in the conference, those who are sharing their story online today. Camera turned on, and they're going to have a big fat smile for Facebook. And I'll do a screenshot of the photos, all right? So that's the process that will be followed throughout the conference today. Are there any questions or comments before we start formally? So I'm hoping this conference will probably go around approximately 2 hours, okay? Or just under, all right? So I'm a big talker. I can be here for 6 hours or 6 days, whatever. I'm pretty cool with that. but approximately 2 hours, okay, just so you could plan your day as well around the conference. Yeah, brilliant. We're going to start in 2 minutes time from now. Yes, Melissa is here. Hi, Melissa. Nice to see you. And Sarah, I can see your face as well. That's brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Okay, guys, if you can please turn off your microphones, thank you. Please mute your microphones. That will be much appreciated. All right. Abhishek, which part of India are you from? Are you from the north part of India?
I'm from North Korea, correct.
North part of India, okay, brilliant. So I'm not from India, but I'm Tamil background, and my parents were from Malaysia, but they speak Tamil at home.
Okay.
So I'm South Indian, yeah.
I can understand a little bit of Tamil.
Oh, can you? That's good to hear.
Because earlier I was working in Tamil Nadu, that's what I can understand.
Ah, brilliant, brilliant, fantastic, awesome. All right, guys, we'll make a start now officially. I'm going to play those videos now to begin with, so please kindly turn off your microphones. Thank you. All right, let's make a start. Let's do this. I'll be sharing my screen for you to review the videos. Now, can you all see my screen? Can you all see my screen online? Oh, it's still sharing. Give me a moment. It's still sharing. Can you see it now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Awesome, perfect. Okay, let's do this. So microphone's turned off, thank you. I'm gonna press play. The first video will go for approximately 8 minutes. Let's do this. Okay, we're going to now play the second video, and this video is about you guys. Awesome. All right. So now it is my time to show you my my presentation on the keynote speech. And this will go approximately 39 minutes or so. And once I've finished showing you this video, if there are any questions or queries, I'll open the floor for a discussion. Welcome GFTE members and participants. Thank you for devoting your time and energy to be in this presentation today. I would like to assert a heartfelt thank you to Professor Moser for giving me this privilege and opportunity as a keynote speaker in this international conference hosted by the Global Forum for Teacher Educators. GFTE is family to me. I share the same vision with Professor Moser that education should be freely accessible to everyone, regardless of their background and status within society. This platform has not only helped me to build my confidence with public speaking, it's also done some of the following. It's helped me to do what I love the most, which is to be of service to humanity, conversing and learning from like-minded people around the globe, but most importantly, working alongside with a righteous human being, the one and only Professor Moser, who is my eternal role model, brother, confidant, and family. My talk today will be focusing on my life as an autistic person and its relevance to the higher education sector in how I negotiate and navigate autism within academic spaces. Given my insider status in this presentation, I've opted to use identity-first linguistic prescription when describing my autism. I also do, however, acknowledge and respect that some autistic people might have a preference for person-first linguistic prescription. Before I formally begin my presentation, I would like to make acknowledgement of country. I acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which I am meeting and recording this presentation today. I recognize their continuing connection to land, water, and the community. I pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. I'm going to start my presentation with a brief story. 33 years ago, a baby boy was born. He was rather cute and very mischievous indeed. He was loved very much by his family. In comparison to his peers, he was developmentally more advanced and was very confident in his abilities. At primary school, he was a teacher's pet. He was an A-grade student and lived a happy and stress-free life. He, however, started noticing some challenges when he began secondary schooling. Things that he would normally find very easy became very difficult so quickly. Friendships and relationships were one of them. He found it very hard for others to understand where he was coming from, which naturally resulted in him feeling socially excluded and isolated. He also started to form anxiety and depression, but in his culture, he was not allowed to show weaknesses and would often internalize his pain and tribulations. He also knew he was very different from others in terms of how he felt, understood, and experienced his world around him, and who he found sexually attracted to. Once again, due to his Indian heritage and culture, he had to conceal his emotions and feelings. This problem intensified in senior secondary schooling years. He struggled to find a space where he belonged. Life at university was also not easy. It was not the most safest space in. There was a lack to no understanding and awareness on how to support different learners and queer people. Fast forward 15 years, he started to regain his confidence, acknowledging his unique abilities. He realized there was something special within him, and he needed to do something about it as a matter of priority. His late grandma, Papa Nathan, who he calls Arthur in Tamil language, was someone who he looked up to for continued inspiration. She always believed in him, which helped him to understand and affirm his life purpose. He knew he was placed on this earth to make a positive difference in the lives of many people. He wasn't sure, however, how and where he would start, but he decided to keep going and to know he will get there eventually. If you're wondering who this person is me. The person who I've been talking about is me. I've got a long way to go, but I'm hopeful by sharing my story on being autistic within an academic setting on this GFTE platform, it will help to steer change and privilege a matter that is often underprivileged. I will start by giving you some information and defining what exactly is autism. To me, autism is a condition that affects how a person thinks, feels, interacts with others, and experiences their environment. In line with the neurodiversity movement, autism is not seen as a disorder, but rather a neurological difference from a non-pathological sense. By that, it considers autism as a unique way of thinking and experiencing the world. Every autistic person is unique, and no one person on the autism spectrum is the same. And autism itself is not a mental health condition or illness, but often it can coexist with other mental health illnesses and conditions. For me personally, from my perspective as an autistic person with lived experiences of autism, autism means the following: authentic, unequivocal, talented, innovative, systematic, and mastery. These words depicts my experiences of autism and how I understand and view my autism within a society that is very fundamental, non-autistic or holistic focused. I'll now talk to you about how autism is portrayed within society by describing some of the negatives. Within society, autism is often viewed negatively. Autistic people are customarily seen as a burden to society, costly to support and accommodate, especially within workplace settings and education settings, requiring to be fixed because we are broken, and lacking in intelligence and mental capacity. I have experienced and endured all of these nasty experiences in my former and current life. As a consequence of society demonizing autism, I won't lie, but I have experienced and continue to experience internalized ableism on a situational stance when my differences are highlighted as being a problem. And this obviously doesn't help with the development of a positive, evaluated sense of self-identity. In terms of the positives, amongst the fallacies and oppression evidenced within society, with the rise of the neurodivergent movement and autism awareness, there is hope for autistic people. From my positionality as an autistic person, I don't see autism as a disability, but rather a unique, under-acknowledged, gifted ability. Whilst I might share some parallels with other autistic people, we are all an individual. We all experience autism in an individualistic fashion. Equally, whilst I might not share parallels with non-autistic or holistic people, my divergent self is inherently me. And over the years, I've come to accept and embrace my autism for what it is. I've a long way to go, and I see myself a work in progress. However, my unique talents and special interest has afforded me with a myriad of opportunities. And this has helped me to understand my worth and purpose in this life, which is to be of service to all living things, and especially those who are underprivileged and sidestepped within the broader contours of society. I will now talk to you directly about my challenges and triumphs of being autistic. Autism for me can be a barrier and a facilitator within a university context. And most of these barriers are the direct result of society's lack of understanding and normalizing autism, disability, and neurodivergent embodiments. I want to stress in this presentation that my experiences of autism are exclusive to my life. Every autistic person experiences the autism in a unique and personalized fashion. Therefore, by default, always be guided by the person's narrative on their autism embodiment. Negotiating and navigating university life is never easy for all of us, autistic or autistic. Within a university setting, however, due to the lack of understanding about autism and the substandard infrastructures that govern protocols and processes, my autism barriers undoubtedly have been a lot more further accentuated. I will now openly share some of my challenges and how it impacts my life as an academic. Let me start by talking about autism burnout. It's a huge one. Autistic burnout is the intense physical, mental, or emotional exhaustion, often accompanied by a loss of skills, feeling compromised and experiencing dorsal vagus shutdown. It results mainly from the cumulative effects of having to navigate a world that is designed for neurotypical, autistic or non-autistic people. Universities, for example, are not the most autistic-friendly spaces to be working in. For me personally, unrealistic workloads engaging in non-autistic friendly protocols and processes, and having to mask my autism barriers to appear neurotypical is so very exhausting, which contributes to my autistic burnout. The next one is identity erasure. Conformity is a big thing in society. It's huge. As I mentioned earlier, I often find myself unknowingly and knowingly having to perform and pretend to appear neurotypical, to exercise conformity just so that I can be taken more seriously and be respected. Individuality is often seen as a problem in society, and as an autistic person, I find this concept very hard to grapple with. Whilst universities say they are inclusive and supportive of diversity, of differences, in actuality, from my personal experiences, it's quite the opposite. My autism is also very much an invisible condition, which adds to my identity erasure experiences as well. Over the years, however, with the help of my therapist and my close friends, I've had to learn to be overtly autistic, which has helped me to alleviate some of these erasure dilemmas and problems. For example, I'm now not afraid, like what I'm doing right now, to openly disclose to people about my autism and talk to them about my struggles and triumphs. Oh, has helped others with normalizing their struggle. One second, guys. What's happened here? Can you all still hear me?
Yes, sir, but the presentation is not so clear.
Okay, just give me a second. All right, something's happened. 1 second. Sorry about that. Okay, what's happened here? Just give me a second, guys. Sorry about that. Something's happened from my end, and my speaker's not working properly now.
It's okay, sir. Please take your time.
Could someone please turn off the microphones? Thank you. Thank you for that, Ruffle. Take your time. Thank you for that, Salima. Something's happened from my end, and it's not working for some reason. No, what's going on here? I might need to stop sharing and re-share it again, perhaps. Is that clear? Can you all hear it, or you can't hear it at the moment? It's not very clear, is it? It's not loud enough. Okay, give me a second, guys. Just sorry about that. I might need to stop sharing my screen and share a different video just to see if it's working properly. Give me a second. What I'm doing right now Okay, I think I fixed it now. Let me know if this is working, guys. I'm so sorry about this mess up. Okay, thanks for that, Fatima. Thanks for that for the affirmation. Now, can you please tell me if this is working now from your end? Now? Can you all hear that, or it's not loud enough?
Not loud enough, sir.
Okay, okay. Yes, just give me a second. Something has happened to the settings of my computer. Which, over the years, however, and my close friends, I've had to learn to be overtly autistic.
No, it's audible, sir.
Is that better?
Yeah, it is not good.
Yeah, it is better.
But it's not that loud still, is it? It's not that loud still for some reason. Give me a second. It's quite the opposite. Is that better?
Yes.
But autism is also very much an invisible condition.
Yes, it is.
Which adds Thank to you. My identity erasure experiences as well. Over the years, however, with the help of my therapist and my close friends, I've had to learn to be overtly autistic, which has helped me to alleviate some of these erasure dilemmas and problems. For example, I'm now not afraid, like what I'm doing right now, to openly disclose to people about my autism and talk to them about my struggles and triumphs, which humanizes what I do and what we do as human beings in society. And this, I found, has helped others with normalizing their struggles. So is the voice still very low? Because some of you are saying the voice is very low.
I can hear you very well.
Okay, so, all right. Okay, sure. And their hardship experiences. The big one here is universal design. Universities are not built for autistic people at all. For example, there is no consideration for our sensory sensitivities. Like lighting and temperature is a big one for me. Some lighting gives me migraines, paralyzing migraines, which impacts my job performance. And the same goes with temperature as well, where I've had to work in closed offices with no windows or with hot air blowing down, which can be off-putting for me. And this is one of the reasons why many autistic academics find it very hard to keep their jobs, not because they lack the skills and abilities, but rather the university environment is not conducive or responsive to the autistic needs and wants. Mental health. Whilst autism, is not a mental illness, as a result of autistic burnout and being situated in a non-friendly autistic environment, it is inevitable that mental health conditions follow. I experience profound amounts of anxiety and depression. They're mostly situational, but when it's at its peak, I shut down. I do well in smaller, intimate circles, but interactions in larger groups becomes very challenging for me. There were times in my current job as well where I've had to attend large group meetings, and if I had the chance, I would simply not attend it purely for the sake of my anxiety, which is so accentuated, it makes me feel paralyzed and debilitated. A big one in academic spaces is discrimination. Ableist discrimination is a prevalent issue, more so implicit ones that I've found. In my former workplace, it was so rampant and very bad indeed. I was made to feel like an imbecile and would be infantilized all the time. People say they're inclusive, but they really are not inclusive. However, I don't blame them either. This is a result of residing in a society that naturally dichotomizes able-bodied people versus disabled people into two clusters, into two separate groups of people. By that, those who don't fit that stereotypical ideal or those normative ideals like myself and other people who are neurodivergent are often seen as a problem within society and within academic spaces. Speech disfluency. Now this makes me quite emotional, so I do cry. I apologize in advance. With autistic burnout comes also situational speech disfluency. And the way it impacts me is in the form of speech blockages, where I can't talk, stuttering, stammering, and selective mutism. There are times at work I just don't have the energy to even utter a word. I often find myself wanting to avoid meetings for this very reason. For example, I've now formed a phobia for 4 words. These words are important to me, but I'm fearful of saying those words, and I'm going to try it now live in this presentation. Those 4 words are as follows: validation, methodology, delineate, and digitization. Ooh, that's a relief. And there is no direct reason for this phobia, but it was attributed by my therapist due to the autistic burnout. And since I know these words make me stutter, I tend to avoid these words as much as possible. And I've since lost my confidence in uttering these words, but also lost my confidence in speaking as well, which is quite situational. There are times where I am so fearful of speaking. And when I do have those moments, when I do speak or interact with other people, staff and colleagues and students, my speech can become very unintelligible, which makes me very embarrassed because automatically people attribute speech disfluency to having no or a lack of intelligence or a lack of abilities. And it's most often misunderstood. And this is where the option for using texting or written communication, such as emails, has been very helpful for me, which has helped to overcome some of these issues or to manage my speech disfluency moments. The next one is needing predictability. My autistic brain needs structure and predictability. Without this, I become very overwhelmed and anxious, not knowing what to expect. Most often, the reason for this is I need time to process and prepare my mind for what's coming. Without knowing what to expect, I'm unable to perform my best, which once again can be seen as lacking in capacities or not being cooperative enough. And the last one is one-size-fits-all approach. As I mentioned earlier on, universities are not built for autistic people, but more for autistic people. This can make my life very challenging, when little to no consideration is given to the individual experiences in order to personalize and provide a pleasant and safe workplace for the respective autistic individual. I will now talk to you more about my triumphs in higher education setting. So first and foremost is my special interest. Things that I'm interested in doing, I have a heightened understanding and knowledge. I immerse myself in it and I can't get enough of it. Ethics is a big one for me. Ethics is not just a professional endeavor, but a way of life. I take ethics very seriously and quite literally as well. I often have found myself in compromised positions and situations given I follow by the book, and when things don't go as planned, I often get blamed as the problem maker. Okay? I'm very loyal to what I do, and I can't help but romanticize my work and what I do for my staff, college, and for my students. Being creative, the autistic brain is very creative. In fact, I have a wild imagination and can see things in a multifaceted dimensional perspective. For example, I like to engage with my students in a very dynamic and interactive way. It's a very unconventional majority of the time, which can be quite amusing and perplexing for people who don't parrot or don't find my approach as standardized practice. Attention. And this relates to my special interest, of course. I have a fixation of making things perfect or close to perfect. I aim for quality always, as opposed to quantity. And this can be mentally draining for me, but I don't see any other way. It's how my brain works. Novel approaches. I do find myself approaching and doing things in very unconventional and novel and innovative ways. Over the years, it has helped me with developing my point of difference and to acknowledge and to know and to respect my different ways of approaching things is not bad after all. Empathy. There is this prevailing fallacy in society that autistic people can't feel emotions. This is not true at all. In fact, I have too much of empathy and can attribute the mental states of other people in a very deep level, to the point where it sometimes impacts my own mental health and well-being. I almost have the sixth sense to be able to understand people at a much deeper level. I call this my superpowers. Hyper-focused. As I mentioned earlier on as well, I have a fixation on immersing myself in a task to the exclusion of something else. I take what I do very seriously, and I appreciate quality over quantity at all times. I become so preoccupied in that task, the rest becomes secondary. And whilst this can be great, I've learned or had to learn to compartmentalize things better, to not miss out on those important areas as well, and to give every area equal importance, if possible and when able. And the last one is autonomy. I am my best own self-manager. I don't need to be supervised or micromanaged. I work well independently, and I'm a great and stellar time and plan manager. I plan everything I do from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep. I'm that anal with time management. And whilst I respect the importance and value of collaboration at all times, I do find myself naturally more efficient and effective when working alone. And this helps me to have more control, an element of predictability, and more control over any unpleasant sensory stimuli or stressors, which can be anxiety-provoking and a hindrance to my job performance and mental health. I found, especially working remotely, working online with the COVID-19 pandemic at the moment, it's helped me overcome a lot of this potential stressors and sensory sensitivity issues, which I would have experienced working in a face-to-face classroom space or in a face-to-face work environment, where I have little control over the sensory sensitivity issues. I will now conclude by providing some recommendations and ways to move forward and how we can support autistic people to negotiate and navigate university settings a lot better. There is undoubtedly a lack of representation of autistic people in universities, especially among staff members. I personally feel we need to have more autistic people in leadership, period. In leaderships, vulnerabilities should be openly discussed and championed and promoted. We need to humanize what we do than just see this as a mere business transaction. We're working with subjects, not objects. Voice. Instead of considering autistic people or all autistic people as a monolith, by grouping them and seeing their experiences co-equal, universities need to privilege the individual voices and oppression or experiences of autistic people. Most often, autistic people are downgraded and relegated by autistic or non-autistic people who perceive themselves as experts of our lives. The experts of autistic people are autistic people themselves who live and breathe and experience autism on a daily basis. So it's very important at university levels, policy and practice, to be guided and informed by autistic people on their narratives and not the narratives of autistic people. Accommodation. Offering appropriate accommodation is crucial. It's a huge step forward in making an autistic person feel safe at universities. As I mentioned to you all earlier on, sensory sensitivities is a big one, where many holistic people take for granted. Talk to us about what makes us feel unsafe and safe, and just see us flourish in the workplace and in the work environment. Like myself, other autistic people might also identify other identities alongside their autism. A prevalent one that is also supported by the research as well is being on the queer spectrum. For example, not having a gender-neutral toilet can make it difficult for autistic people who fall outside the gender binary to feel safe and included. Mutuality is very important as well. Having a shared understanding is crucial in helping alleviate autistic people to feel isolated and outcasted. Managers, supervisors, and colleagues need to take more time in understanding autistic people from their perspective in order to build common ground or a shared understanding. Most often, autistic people are customarily perceived as a problem by default. By engaging in reciprocal dialogue and conversations, it helps autistic people to feel heard and supported. I frequently talk about my autistic struggles and tribulations to students and to staff members. I see this as a proxy to normalize and to educate the autistic embodiment and the autistic experiences. Positive work culture. I'm blessed to be working at ACAP in my current role as a national lecturer and unit coordinator, and having such a supportive work environment and supportive managers, staff, and students. These experiences make a profound difference in how I negotiate and navigate my autism. In my former workplace, however, this was not the case at all. Having people understand where you're coming from without demonizing and problematizing your autism can make such a huge difference. It's very much enabling as opposed to disabling. Areas of expertise. I personally feel that universities need to value the expertise of autistic people, especially our special interest areas. Autistic people have accentuated understanding and knowledge of their special interest. Areas of interest should be considered in a job interview, and it should be aligned with the job task on a daily basis. Whilst autistic people might have restrictive areas of interest, by supporting an autistic person to pursue these areas further within an academic setting will not only advantage the person, but the university as a whole. Many autistic people have special interest and have the capacity to do well. With the right opportunity, they can exploit the best in them. And lastly, the importance and the invaluable benefits of training. No doubt ongoing training and development is important, it's needed at universities to support autism awareness and education. But training should be delivered by autistic people and not autistic people. When we think about autism awareness and training, it should come from our voices, from our lived experiences, not from what others think they know, from what they've read or understood. Those sorts of things are very problematic, and it downgrades the autism experiences. So training, knowledge, augmentation, and further development should always come from autistic people themselves, not holistic people. That concludes my presentation for today. I do apologize, there was a small glitch before I pressed the wrong button and it changed my slides. However, I thought I was able to improvise and to combat that quick glitch and to move on with my conference. Thank you everyone for your time and for your energy and for listening to my story. It is very important to me. It means a lot to me. It really does. If you have further questions or comments, please email me. I've given you my email address on this PowerPoint slide. I wish you all the best and nothing but lots of love, light, and peace. Stay blessed and keep shining abundantly. Thank you. All right, guys, thank you so much for being patient with me despite those dramas we had before with the speaker issues. Are there any questions or comments? There's one raised hand from Ashraful. Yes, Ashraful. Hi, Ashraful. How are you?
Thank you, Professor.
Oh, I can't seem to hear what you're saying. I'm sorry.
Sir, am I audible?
That's better, a lot better. Thank you for that. Awesome.
Thank you very much for your nice presentation. It's an amazing presentation from your side, and we have gathered a lot of information regarding have come up to this point of your career, and I'm hopeful that it will help us to, in case of our career, to uplift our career in the days ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that, Ashraful. That's very kind of you. Just to expand on your comments as well, life has been very difficult for me being autistic. You know, I suppose in society, when you're autistic, you're seen as a problem or a sinner or just, you know, a no-hoper. So it has been quite difficult for me, but I've always believed in myself. But also, I'm a huge advocate as well for other autistic and disabled people in society as well. So yes, so this is my pathway to emancipate the lives of those underprivileged. Are there any other questions or comments? And thank you all for your lovely commentaries on the text box here. I really feel blessed to have you all online in this amazing presentation. We've got one person who's raised their hand. Asma Afzal.
Yes, Asma from Pakistan. Your presentation is marvelous, very knowledgeable for me. Okay, I have a question. As a teacher, what symptoms should we observe in a child with autism?
Very good question, Asma. I like that. So, Asma, everyone with autism has different symptoms and conditions, okay? So, no one people has the same symptoms, but there are some common symptoms you can look for. You see, in a school setting or school environment, lots of autistic kids might misbehave badly because they find it very
Misbehave.
hard to cope, misbehave
Right.
badly, because that's their way of saying to you, I'm not coping with all the environment around them, like loud noises, or they might have difficulties understanding a task or a concept. So it depends person to person, but from my experience, I found autistic people need structure and they need predictability. So when there's a lack of structure and there's a lack of predictability, it creates more anxiety in them. And also, some autistic people, like my clients, have no speech, they're nonverbal. So they might go and bang their head against the wall, or they might start to bite their fingers or bite their hand. And that's their way of actually saying to us, please help me. So autistic people use different types of behaviors to express their communication. So I think as teachers, we need to be compassionate, but also very, very attuned and vigilant to those different emotions that the autistic person exhibits.
Oh,
Thank you for the Asma. That's a really good question. Are there any other comments or queries? So who here has worked with an autistic person before? Yes, Anna. Sorry, I saw your hand raised up.
Yes, sir. Actually, I'm teaching also. I'm an adopted physical educator, so I'm handling also students with special needs. So it's very unusual to me that, of course, I don't know. I wasn't able to see you right away because there are some common symptoms or signs for the students with special needs, because most of the time students with autism, they don't have eye contact, so I cannot see barely with my naked eyes that if you don't have any eye contact, it's very normal as you, as a professor, that you have accomplished a lot, okay, knowing that you are under the autism spectrum. So I just want to ask, sir, if you, what particular type of autism spectrum that you were diagnosed by your doctor?
Yes, so in the DSM-4, it was diagnosed as Asperger's syndrome. Okay, the
Asperger.
DSM-5
Why?
is autism. So in Australia, we are a lot more progressive in this, in the sense of we don't use things like special needs. We don't use things like high functioning. So my diagnosis was high functioning autism,
Yes,
because we
Asperger.
think the word high functioning actually is quite demeaning. It downgrades people who are not as high functioning or less off. So we use spectrum. So my autism was Asperger's, Anna,
Yes,
and
yes.
so my support needs are not as complex or as I would say intensified in comparison to people who have a lot more support needs. But as I mentioned in my presentation today, lots of my autism I've had to learn over the years with lots of therapy. So I'm blessed in the sense I came from a very good family background
Yes.
who had money, you know.
Yes, because
So
the
I had,
therapy is very expensive.
it is expensive. So as a therapist myself, for example, I charge
I saw
200
the
Aussie
profile.
dollars for
You're
an
also
hour.
psychologist. Am I correct,
Yes,
Professor? You're
so
also psychologist.
no, I'm not a psychologist. No, I'm not a psychologist, but I work in a psychologist college.
Cool.
But you see, therapist is very expensive. So I teach counseling. Okay, but so lots of my experiences, I would say over the years, I've had to learn how to not mask, but learn how to adapt. So I think autism really, it comes down to if the person is able to engage in adaptation, there is more success for them to lead, I would say, a more typical or normal life.
Yes,
When
and
there's a
support
less
system from the
lack of,
family.
absolutely. I think teachers make a huge difference in autistic people in terms of encouraging and normalizing their autism, because
Correct.
we as educators, we are their voice, we are their eyes, we are their ears, we are their hearts, we are their everything. So I think we have a duty of care, but also we have to provide a space that enables them to grow and flourish.
So that's my follow-up question, sir. So you are very fortunate that you have a family which have money to go to allow you to go to the therapy sessions. So I think it's feedback in my voice. So how about what can you say, especially us teachers, and especially us now residing here in the Philippines, we are a third world country. There are a lot of students that don't have money to go to the therapy. The parents also are very uh, they are very negative dealing with their children with special needs. How can you help them, especially if money is involved in terms of allowing them to go to the therapy?
Well, I suppose I can't change how the country's infrastructure is working, but I can say from my perspective, Anna, I'm happy to provide free education and free support online. So if you think you might need me to come and do a talk or to create more awareness, please contact me directly. I will come and talk and provide more training, because I think what's important is money, whilst it's valuable, but money isn't everything as well. So in situations where countries are lacking in resources, I'm willing to provide free training and free support.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking you, because we are planning to invite you, sir, because we are very your story is very inspiring also to us teachers that we are teaching. Although there are some students that are not diagnosed, you would never know that these students already are experiencing this disability or having any kind of impairment, because they don't have money to
Yes.
go to doctors for them to be diagnosed properly. So at least
Yes.
and do some awareness or webinars that we can involve the parents also be aware about what the
Yes.
trip
Absolutely.
is all about. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. So, Anna, I'm very open and flexible and fluid. So you tell me what you need, I will deliver it for you. Now, guys,
Thank
I'm
you,
just very conscious of the time. So two more questions and then we'll get to your stories because I want to learn more about yourself now. Okay. We've got two more questions. Two more hands are raised. Let's go to Melissa. Melissa, are you here? Yes, Melissa, I can see you right there.
Yeah, good evening. Now it is evening in the Philippines. First, Professor Resh, congratulations. I was teary eyed
Thank
upon
you.
hearing your story. Actually, I wasn't expecting such. So, autism is really everywhere. This is not actually a question. I just wanted to commend you because, as far as I know, most of the people I've met with autism has actually a very not superficial but superpower, as you have just stated. But may I ask, when was the time when realization came that you are extraordinary with ordinary intelligence? I mean, your intelligence is superb, and looking at your what do you call this education, the background, it is really amazing. I myself is having my doctor of philosophy, but then knowing that you're teaching philosophy, knowing that you're teaching different kinds of subject and the like, I'm just so amazed and so inspired how to be you, Professor Resh. Congratulations again.
Well, the thing is, Melissa, we are all a gift to humanity. We are all special in our own way. So I don't see myself, I don't, so I think that I'm my own competition and we all should be our own competition. That's the most healthiest way to be and to think about ourselves. I think we all have a gift, and I've realized what my gift is. I'm far from perfect, but my gift is to use my voice for a greater purpose. And that is exactly what I'm doing now. I haven't got all the answers. I've got so much more to learn and grow. Trust me. That's why I'm forever studying all the time, but I think by engaging in a very transparent, authentic, and sincere dialogue, these sorts of things are lacking in society. It's based on, being fake and false pretense. So we need to really demystify and really debunk all of this falsehood and be more real. And that's something, Melissa, I've struggled with. I can't be fake. I can't tell lies very easily. I can't engage in small talk. I'm too direct, too upfront, and that's my problem as well with no
You're
filter.
so
So I've had to
brave.
over
You're
the
so
years to
humble. You're really humble, Prof. Resh. You are brave. You are humble. You're a very good person. I am hoping that everywhere in the world, especially GFTE and all the teachers of who are actually engaging with this very rare opportunity are having those kinds of attributes. Thank you very much.
thank you, Melissa. That's lovely of you. All right, one last question from. Oh well, okay. The other person is lowered their hand. Okay, let's just move on now. So the next part of the conference is going to be about you. It's time to change the camera and the spotlight onto yourselves now. Okay, so what I would like you to do is I'll be calling your name. So there are two things I want us to do today. So at the end, once we finish sharing your stories individually, I want us to all turn our cameras on and I'll take a picture of all of us. Okay, so we can share it on Facebook to say we are all here in this conference. So I'm going to call upon people's names. But before I do that, though, I want to say something to all of you, which I mentioned earlier on, and I think some of you were not here. I want to say I've watched all of your videos on YouTube, and it made me quite emotional because I really felt that sincerity in your videos and what you were saying. It was just so pure and genuine. And as an educator myself, you know, I can distinguish a fake person from a real person. Everyone's story on YouTube that I watched was real, was authentic, and it was really powerful because it gave me hope. For some time, I lost hope because I worked in different academic spaces and I saw teachers who placed their students last and they placed themselves first. Now, I'm going to just turn the microphone off. But in your videos, it was very obvious and clear to me that you privileged your students and your service to education. And that is very important, and that's a noble thing to do. So, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you. And don't stop here. I want you to keep going because from here on, it's only onwards and upwards. On that note, I'm going to call the first person. So I want you all to share your story just under 3 minutes. Give me a quick summary and I'll ask you a question. How is that, everyone? Are we cool for that? All good? Okay. Don't feel nervous. Feeling nervous is actually a good thing. It shows that you actually care. I'm always nervous. I'm even nervous right now. Can you not tell? But being nervous is a good sign. It shows you care and you want to do well, period. Let's start first with Abhishek from India.
Hello everyone. Very good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever the
Abhishek, could
people.
you please turn your Abhishek, could you please turn your camera on?
My
Oh,
camera
yes,
is on.
better, perfect. Okay. Yes, thank you, Abhishek. Sorry to interrupt you. Off you go.
Very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you are listening in different time zones. This is Abhishek Pandey. Am I audible to you, sir? Can you please confirm?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, thank you. This is Abhishek Pandey. I am assistant professor at Directorate of Online Education, Manipal University, Jaipur in India. I am working in this teaching profession from last 6 years. Earlier, I was working in southern part of India in different colleges at University of Madras. I joined this profession with my own personal interest and zeal. Uh, why? Because I find this is only profession in which I will be always a learner. Because teaching is not just only to teach something. It is to learn always. Therefore, I find I should learn, and whatever I learn, I have to share with our young generation. Uh, and whatever problem I faced as a student, I not suppose my student to face it. And with that zeal, I joined this profession, and I find because since we are connected with young generation, young mind, uh, therefore we will be always young. Because if we connect with young people, we'll be always young. And with that zeal, I joined this profession, and particularly with my young student, I collaborate, coordinate, and uh, this was a enthusiasm for me, and it was boosting for me to be motivated in my profession. And especially when this pandemic began, this COVID-19, though I find there may be as per guideline of COVID, there may be a social distancing, but we are more connected together. This COVID-19 transformed education in a much broader way. Now, particularly as an educator, I find this is the right time to change our mindset. And I adopted the new technology and the new trend of teaching and learning process. I never say it is teaching, it is teaching and learning process, because a good teacher should be a good learner. Therefore, I learned because especially COVID-19 time when the COVID begins, it was challenging for all of us as a teacher, as an educator, because our students were unknown. They have never, even we have never faced this particular problem. That time we were learner as well as educator both at the same time. Therefore, I learned new technologies and integrate with the student through video conferencing calls, and I made so many new I try to apply so many new applications in order to make my teaching and learning process much better, so that I can reach my student well. And then I decided we have to accept this mode of education for long. Why? Because it connects a global audience. There is no earlier it was a classroom blackboard teacher, but blackboard teacher is transformed as a digital teacher. Now there is no classroom, class four walls of a class. It is a global wall. Therefore, I joined as a complete online teacher and joined in Manipal University. I am a full-time complete online teacher, and I really enjoying my job well. And now my audience are not just in India. We have students from 13 to 14 countries, and I personally believe this is the education tomorrow. The future of education is far beyond the geography of a particular country. This I really very happy to connect with this global forum for teacher education. I feel very privileged to be a part of a member of this prestigious organization where I can see the people from Pakistan, from Turkey, from Philippines, from Romania, from different parts of the world. Really, I'm indeed delighted and having more collaboration with you all teachers, educators, facilitators, coordinators for a common cause of learning. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Abhishek. I think what's quite powerful in your narrative is when you asserted a good teacher is a good learner, and that's a very powerful sentiment right there. One question for you, Abhishek, because I was very involved with India with my family members. We sponsored oxygen masks and all those things during COVID-19 pandemic. So I was going to ask you in terms of, higher education and the COVID-19 pandemic, were there any implications on students' mental health during that time?
Yeah, at the beginning of pandemic, students were not ready to adopt.
Mm,
Therefore, the duty of teacher is to motivate them and to engage them so that they should not feel and miss their classmates. It was really a challenging
yes.
time, but from last 1.5 years, they are very habitual and they used to. Therefore, I hope, particularly my students, uh, I not face any students having a mental health issue in that time. But earlier it was little challenging to them.
Awesome. I think it also comes down to if the teacher is responsive to the students, there'll be less issues that I would suppose less issues that manifest itself. So it sounds like you are very engaged with your students, you're very attuned, and you know how to support them in a very meaningful fashion. So thank you, Abhishek. Great story. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much. Thank you so much.
Next person, so I'm going to put a list, I'm going to put, what do you call, a cross at Abhishek's name, so I know I've already asked him to talk and share his story. Let's now go to Croatia. Is it Margia? Margia? Sorry, I'm so bad with
Hello,
pronunciations.
it's Maria.
Hello, Maria. Maria, tell us about your beautiful story.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I want to say to you hello from Europe, from Croatia. Right now, I'm in one small village in the north part of Croatia, and I want to say to everyone, bravo. Bravo, Professor
Bravo.
Resh. Bravo, friend Abhishek. I like your stories very much. And my story begins, as I told you, in small village. Because of that, I was growing in the, farmer's family. Maybe I can say in humble family. So my parents finished only for 3 years of education. And when I told them I want to go to school more than is primary school, they told me no. You bring your husband in family, and you will help us, and you don't have to go to school. Luckily, my teachers came to my family, to my house, and told them, please let Maria go to school. And I want to go to school. We call it gymnasium. I
Yeah.
don't know how it's in your countries. And my parents told, no, you can't go there because after that you're nothing. You have to go to university and we need you. You can't go. So I finished, vocational school, something like economic. And after that, I want to go university because I want to become a teacher. And my parents again told me, no, you have to stay at home. But they allowed me to go, something like that, entrance exam to university. So I go there and I was in. So my parents said, oh my God, our daughters have to go to university. They cried, and after 10 years, they told me that they were praying not to enter the school. When I finished my university and I become a teacher, I'm Croatian teacher. I teach Croatian language and literature. They were the proudest parents in the world, of course. And today I told my students about my example, and they are amazed because many of them don't want to learn. Those who want to, they can't believe that parents are forbidding me to going to school. So my dream is fulfilled, and I'm happy now because I am teacher. I teach in primary school for more than 25 years. And I think I have a big experience with bringing light into classroom in the small area. The distance from my village and the bigger city is big. So I think that my students have to go to bigger cities to go to concerts, to theater, to learn something about life. And as you can hear, my English is not so good because in my regular education, I have never get opportunity to learn English. So I'm self-learner, and excuse me if you don't understand me.
Your English is
And
fine, Maria. Your English is fine. It's perfect.
oh, thank you. So just one sentence, please, because with intention to making good use of English in speech and writing, I started writing Erasmus Plus projects. Maybe you heard about it. So in this way, I finally got the opportunity to travel, which I have always wanted, but also to learn English and other languages. By staying with students for a week on mobility in different countries, in different families, and with my partners in these projects, I think I developed my language skills. So in addition, participating in projects allows students, to fly first time by plane, to get to know the other culture, people, customs. In short, I want to provide them what their parents cannot, just like mine can't. So today, in this pandemic situation, I think that, as Abhishek told, we all have to switch our mindset to different kind of point of view. So I prepared some video lectures for my students and for my Ministry of Education, and that was big lessons for me and for my students. And thank you very much, Global Forum for Teacher Educators. This is my first time that I have to say something so loudly with great audience in English. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maria. That was a lovely story. And one thing that I like about your story is that that you place so much importance to your students as well, and you were able to reflect on your own life and what you lacked in your own life and how you were able to provide for your students as well. So one of the things I was going to ask you is, you mentioned about, that your English is not very good, right? Can I say something to you? I love your accent. I think it's beautiful. The way you speak is, I love accents. So I'm from Australia. I don't like the Australian accent. I hate it. I love how you speak. It's so beautiful. It's exotic. So I was going to say to you, like, so one of the questions I have for you is that, so with your students, so I was going to ask you if you speak to them in English or in Croatian most of the time. Do you
Yes, of
speak to
course.
them in Croatian or in Croatian?
Yes, I understand your question. So, my profession is to teach Croatian language, and I speak with my students in English only when we are on mobilities, because I don't have enough time to speak at my classes, English, and I always thought, oh, they know better than me Croatian. I'm not good in that, but sometimes we do that, and always laughing, of course.
Yes, yes. That's lovely. Thanks. That was a lovely story, Maria. And I can see that I can see you're very passionate in what you do. So all I can say is keep doing what you do. We love you, and we can see that you've got a bright future ahead of you.
Thank you very much.
Recorded.
Now, I was going to ask you all, before the next presenter, can we please have everyone's cameras on, all the speakers? I want to take a picture now. While our faces are still fresh, cameras on, all the speakers, turn your cameras on, please. So I can do a screenshot, okay? And we can post it on social media. So let me have a look and see. So some of you have not turned your cameras on at all. So let me do, okay, give me a second. So I might need to do a couple of different screenshots. Now, Taktis, is your camera turned on? Can you turn your camera on, please? So all the speakers and guests, just turn all your cameras on, okay? It doesn't matter if you're a speaker or you're a guest, just turn your cameras on. And on the count of 1, 2, 3, I want big cheesy smiles, everyone. Show off your gorgeous pearly whites. Okay, give me a second. So we've got Mohammed. Thank you, Mohammed, for your cameras turned on. That's brilliant. Nehar is turned on. Thanks, Fatima. Thanks, Lenny. Thanks. Oh my goodness. Onisi. Sorry, I'm so bad with names. All right, sorry. Okay, so what I might do is I might do 3 different sections. I might do the top part of the video, the middle part, and then the bottom part, because we're all in different sections. So give me a second, please. Now I want you all to smile, okay? Come on, give me big pearly whites. On the count of 3, 2, 1. Okay, give me a second. Let me have a look at it to see how it looks. Okay, let's do one more one again. Okay, I'll do one more. Give me a second, guys. Ready? 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, this is so fake, isn't it? It's so staged. Now let me move my screen to the next section. So we'll start from Neha's section. So guys, 3, 2, oh, it's everything's jumped all over the place now. Whoa, okay. 3, 2, 1, smile. Smile again. Give me a second, guys. Okay. 3, 2, 1, smile. Big smiles, everyone. Awesome. All right, I'll do a few more. Okay, smile. Muhammad, where is your smile? You're not smiling, Muhammad. Smile. That's better. That's awesome. We'll do one more.
Say
Now I want
cheese.
you all to thumbs up. Sorry, what was that?
Say cheese.
Thumbs, cheese, yeah, or thumbs up if you can. Whatever, thumbs up or cheese, whatever. Let's go. Let's all say Munir is beautiful. 3, 2, 1. Munir is beautiful. Done. Okay. All right. I've taken over like 20 photos. That's plenty. We can now get back to task. Hey. All right. Let's now move on to Asma. Asma Afzal. Thank you. Asma, could you please tell us about your story?
Okay, hello everyone.
Hello.
I am Asma Afzal from Pakistan. First of all, your story is very impressive for me because we have some children in our family, and I will discuss later on with Dr. Mandir to conduct a workshop for as a teacher for us and as a parents for us. So very congratulations to you to choose this topic. Battery name. I don't know. Okay, my teacher journey is full of struggle. I started my journey as a high school teacher in 1989 and taught mathematics and English or general science. And I wished to join university, but unfortunately I did not got a chance. But in 2007, our government of Sindh give an opportunity to join a university to enhance our qualification and develop our professionalism. So I completed my Master of Education with the distinction from Ikra University. Then university offered me to continue my study uh, from MPhil leading to PhD. And by the grace of God, I completed my MPhil with gold medal. And now I completed my PhD in education. This is very hard for me to do a job and education from university and family and children. But I did this hard work. And as my colleagues say, a teacher is a learner. So I believe on it. My journey beside this, I work with Intel Teach program because as a teacher, I feel that we are stuck on teacher-centered methodology in our schooling system. Especially, I belong to public sector school. Our public sector schools is still on teacher center, but when I taught about the child center and its benefits at Ikra University, I feel that we must change our paradigm from child center, from teacher center to child center. So I worked with Intel and conducted workshop for in-service teachers to enhance and develop their IT skills so that they can use ICT in the classroom because it is a demand of 21st century learner, and we have to work hard to cope up with these challenges which we are facing in our scenario in Pakistan. Now I am able to feel and understand learners challenges and their needs according to 21st century, and as a researcher I feel that uh, I want to I can solve the issues of learner, and I can solve the issues of classroom as we have already learned about the 21st century requirement. From all these above mentioned achievement of my career, I have understood that one will never regret working hard because hard work always pays off. Now as a administrator, now I am working as a head teacher and administrator. It is my objective to provide free quality education to each child, and I want to uh, give a lesson to teachers to use their electronic device in the classroom, at least if government is not providing our uh, internet facility or computer facility, so we can use our mobile as a teaching tool in the classroom, at least uh, to provide the 21st century classroom environment. So I think we as a Pakistani, we have to work hard for this shifting of paradigming from teacher center to child center, because in all over the world we read about the in articles and research papers, the all the school system have already shifted in the child center approach, and we are still stuck on the teacher center, but we are working on it. And inshallah, I hope in future we will work hard and we will have the classroom in advanced level, as you have, as Japan has, as Korea has, and inshallah these countries are also helping us. uh, this is all about my
Awesome.
journey. Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you for that, Asma. I have to say, I'm very, very inspired by your story because I like how you really focused on child-centered, student-centered learning pedagogical work as opposed to teacher-centered. That sort of shows me that you've been so progressive, even though you're based in Pakistan, but you are thinking ahead of time. So you're almost thinking so ahead of time and so progressive, and it really makes me feel so blessed to sort of hear that you're actually saying to me, in this 21st century, we need to privilege the student's voice, not the teacher's voice. I've got one question for you, Asma. So, what advice can you give to other teachers who are stuck in the old-fashioned ways, who don't want to transfer into that student-centered learning and want to focus more on teacher-centered learning? What advice could you give to those teachers in the way of catching up with the current progress?
I think of comprehensive workshops and comprehensive training for in-service teachers is very compulsory for them. Only we enhance their ability through the workshop and through the uh, trainings. Before
Yes.
adopting and before adopting any new technique, our teacher should read the research papers, should read the techniques from the Google, from the website, to enhance their teaching skills.
Yes, awesome. So I think what's quite clear from your narrative is that teachers should be research focused and evidence-based practice as well, and they should continually learn and, as Abhishek mentioned, engage in the ongoing development and learning as they teach along the way as well, and that's very important. Thanks, Asma, for that great narrative. Thank you.
Thank you,
All
thank
right,
you.
guys. Now, I'm just sort of mindful of the time, so I would like you to just keep your narrative a bit shorter if you can, just for a minute, if that's okay. Let's now move on to um, let's move on to Asraful from Bangladesh. Asraful, how are you?
I'm great.
Awesome. Can you please tell us about your powerful story?
Sure. So at the very beginning, I would like to thanks Dr. Moni Mosa, the volunteer director of Global Forum for Teacher Educators, for creating this unique platform for global teachers. And I feel honored for uh, as my story has been accepted by the Global Forum for Teacher Educators. And I'm really privileged to be here with the teachers from different corner of the world, as well as I'm going to share a few words as we have time constraint. So I start my teaching journey in the year 2012 just after completing my master's in English language and literature, I joined in a college where I taught a student of grade 11 and 12. And after teaching for 2 or 3 months, I realized that my deliberation, my style of teaching in the classroom is not satisfactory. I couldn't satisfy myself. So I thought I need training. And the college where I was, they didn't have the training facilities at that time. So I resigned from the job and got myself admitted into a teacher training college for a 1-year bachelor program in education. And after completing the course, I again joined in a college. And then I realized now my teaching style has been improved a little bit. But still, I'm trusting for something new. So I took permission from the college authority and got myself admitted for Masters in Education program. And there I have learned about teaching pedagogy that helped me to deliver my lesson in the classroom in a nice way, as well as it inspired also my colleagues who are with me, working with me, to say, okay, this is a good idea. And one thing what motivates me to be a teacher is that from the very early age, I love to learn new things, as well as I love to share my learning with my friends. And that makes me I think that, okay, then teaching is the only job that helps me to continue my learning up to the my last breath. And that's why I take teaching as my profession. And this is the unique platform. All of you are teachers here. You know that this is the unique platform where we have got the golden opportunity to shape the future of the mankind. And this is the only profession who creates the
We've lost you, Ashraful. His camera is frozen. Okay, that's okay. We might move on to the next participant, and we might explore it when he comes back online. Yeah, he's disappeared, so he must have lost connection. That's okay, no dramas at all. All right, let's now move to Sarah Ashar. Sarah, are you here? Yes, Sarah is here. Sarah, tell us about your narrative, about your story.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much. So my journey begins when I was 21, and I started my career after my marriage. And I got married at the age of 18, so I completed all my studies after my marriage. And since then, I have been learning and trying to adopt new techniques in my field. And throughout my journey, I have met amazing educators and my super learners. They are my power. Every day they give me energy to motivate myself. And they have been my real power, you can say. And since 2018, I started realizing, I don't know how, that this world is going to change. So I started learning online, and I adopted a lot of new techniques into my classroom, and I did a lot of online training. And since then, we were not ready for this COVID challenges. And yet we are still facing the same issues and we are struggling. But there is always a hope, and teachers are the one who can change the world, I believe. So, with everyone all around the world, as we are here with this platform, and I can see some amazing stories starting from you, and right here we have different educators around the world. So I can see really motivating stories, and I'm very much inspired by each one of you. During my career, I have a lot of amazing stories. I have laughed with my children, I have cried with them, and they have lifted up always. They have lifted up my soul. And I joined this profession because I want to feel the essence of motherhood. And I wanted to feel the connectivity with a person, with a young mind, how they think, how they work, and how they grow. So I learned to work with the little children, and I did a specialization in the field of early education. And still, I'm trying to do my best every day, whatever I can. And hats off to all of you, all of the educators. Thumbs up to all of you. You people are doing great. I'm proud of you.
Thanks for that, Sarah. It was really, really quite powerful, actually, for you to sort of attribute teaching to motherhood. That was just a lovely analogy. And most kids, in fact, all children, see teachers as their own parents because they spend more time with their teachers than their own parents. So I just thought it was just beautifully put how you sort of brought in motherhood with teaching. I've never heard that concept ever mentioned before. So thank you for sharing that powerful story with all of us. It's very inspirational, Sarah.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. I was going to also just quickly say to Ashraful, thank you for your amazing story, Ashraful. That was brilliant. I had one comment for you, though. I was going to ask you about your accent. There is elements of British accent when you're speaking. There's British influence in your accent. Can you tell us a bit more about your accent? Because when you speak or when you assert a few words, it has got this British undertone to it. I think his camera is frozen again. All right, we'll keep moving on now. Next person on the list. Let's go to Takdis Malik.
Hello?
Hello, could you put your camera on for us, please? So we can see
It's
you.
already on. It's already on. Can you see me?
Oh, we can't see your face at all.
Oh, so sorry, but
We just see a black screen. That's all we see.
it's already open. I don't know. What's the
That's okay.
problem?
All right, that's fine. No worries at all. Okay, tell us about your story, please.
Okay. So first of all, my name is Takdis Malik and I'm from Pakistan. And I would like to thank Dr. Munir, Professor Resh, and all the beautiful dedicated teachers out there. So today I would like to tell a little bit about myself. I started my professional career in the year 2010, where I was working as a publishing manager. And along with that, I was completing my PhD degree. But somewhere inside, I have this motivation towards the teaching profession. So after completing my degree, I joined Jinnah University for Women as an assistant professor in the Department of Microbiology. And I would say I do remember the first day at university. I received so much respect from all the students, and I must say that among all the profession, I find this profession as the noblest one. And this is what I can see in the eye of every student out there. I find it very charming and very fascinating to coordinate with them. And after observing this close coordination with the students in this brief duration, I got an opportunity to chair my own department from where I got my master's degree. So it was an honor for me to serve my parent department. But I would say that reaching to this position was not an easy job. There was a lot of struggles and hard work behind it. And I faced a lot of challenges to achieve this goal of teaching profession. So I would like to mention here majorly, since I am associated with a university that is only for girls. So I observed that due to certain family issues and certain other problems, some girls could not be able to complete their education, or you can say higher education. So what I did at that time is to convince their parents. I did certain things for these students and for their parents too, who did not want their girls to go for higher education. I tried to resolve their issues related to the academic charges so the students could continue their studies, and for which I tried to establish their connections with certain organizations who are working in the particular field of microbiology, where can they do a part-time job for managing their academic expenses. I try to build their connections and links with the societies working in the similar field, like Pakistan Society of Microbiology and American Society of Microbiology, so that they can participate in certain webinars, seminars, and conferences. So their motivation level can also be boosted, and they can increase their confidence level so they can easily excel in their life. So basically, I was associated with the profession of publishing in the beginning. So I also trained my student for writing good manuscripts, blogs, scripts, and during my career, I supervised around 21 research projects of BS and MS students. So my team of Microbiology Society is organizing various events, exhibitions, seminars, and this is what I consider is my own success. So I would like to conclude my story here with a message for all the global teachers that we are the society builders. So what we have to do is to learn how to use it to the fullest. Thank you, Dr. Ash.
Thank you. That was very, very inspirational, Dr. Malik. It was powerful. And one of the things that really touched me was the devotion to not just focus on teaching, but those social environments, the psychological elements, which all has a huge, I would say, a profound impact on education. So, lots of students come to higher education, but they have broken families or disharmony at home, which can impact on their education and engagement in their learning as well. So I think by being very emotionally cognizant and attuned and talking to your family members, that just goes to show how devoted you are in this occupation. So thank you from all of us. Great work. Keep doing it.
Thank you so much.
Keep shining abundantly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, let's now move on to Salma Niazi.
Yes, thank you, sir. First of all, I am grateful to Dr. Munir for giving me an opportunity to share my opinion on the platform of Global Teacher Forum. And as Sir Abhishek and my great presenters, they have shared their opinion that actually teachers, they are the most important element in the classroom. And teachers, they imbibe in their students the enthusiasm and passion for learning. And I am very much inspired by the philosopher Khalil Gibran, I want to quote him that if a teacher is indeed wise, she does not bid you to enter into the house of your own wisdom, but rather she leads you to your own understanding. So it is very important for the teacher to realize that how to make our lessons easier to understand. It is very essential. And as Professor Ramsey, you have mentioned that to be compassionate is very important. We must consider other people. Consideration is very important, to consider others. And I want to mention about my country, as I belong to Pakistan and I have completed my master's and graduate from Jinnah University for Women. And our institution, Jinnah University for Women, as it is named after the great leader and the founder of Pakistan, to quote Muhammad Ali Jinnah, he said that it is very important for the nations to work to incorporate the work of their women. It is very important so that the nation they rise to the glory of excellence. So it is very essential to incorporate the women, and as well as we are teaching nowadays 21st century learners to, we must realize the importance of our learners. As the presenters, they have mentioned that now we have transferred from teacher-centered to the student-centered. So I want to add one more thing, that now we have transferred to the technology-centered classroom. It is engagement is transferred to the enchantment. We have to charm the students. We have to attract their attention and indulge them into the classroom. It is very essential to bring them into the classroom and make their lessons easier to understand. And during my teaching journey, I tried my best to make my lessons easier to understand. And to make our lessons easier to understand, it is very essential to have the knowledge and command over subject. If you have command over subject and you are a well-read person, you have feelings for other people, you know that your students are learners as well as they are human beings as well. If you are teaching during, if we, as we are teaching in the time period of COVID-19, we must our teachers easier to understand. It is very important to make their lessons easier to understand. And during my teaching career, it was my great effort to realize this importance. As I belong to Pakistan, our beloved country Pakistan, it is the need in our country. English language is the need of our country, and I realized the need of English language. So I selected the topic for my research as English language teaching, and I tried to incorporate various innovative teaching method, English language teaching method, to make for my students, to make their concepts easier to understand, because we are English in our country is a non-native language. We are non-native speakers of English language. So it is very important to realize this element. And as our teachers, we are the facilitator. And as we enter into the classroom, it is said that the teacher stops at the door of the classroom. We all are learners and we are sharing our opinion. And it is said that sharing is the knowledge multiplied. If you are sharing your opinion, if you are sharing your views, it means that you are multiplying the knowledge. And realize the importance of research and English language innovation in English language teaching in Pakistan. It is very important to realize this importance. So I selected this topic as my research, and I am working on various research projects, and I am trying to work for my alma mater, Jinnah University for Women, and I am working for my emerging country, Pakistan. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Selma. And just one take home from your message is your very powerful message is good teachers build other teachers. And that's the powerful thing in here. I think, teachers build other teachers. I think we are all our own self-leader, but good leaders build other leaders as well. So I think in the current climate and the current
Yes.
pandemic, we need to come together. We need to work in collaboration and not in isolation. Because by working alone, by working in isolation, we won't achieve those bigger goals. We need to come
Yes.
together, bring our heads and minds together, and work in a way that will help for a much greater purpose. Thanks,
Yes, sir.
Selma.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we've got a couple more to go. Let's now go to Anna from Philippines.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning here now in the Philippines, and good evening, good afternoon all over the world who are present here now in our session, in our conference. So once again, I'm Anna Carion. I'm from Philippines. I'm teaching in a junior high school in the Department of Education in the Philippines. Okay, the name of the school is the Fort Bonifacio High School. Right now, it's my almost 13 years in service, okay, in a public school. So I can say that I graduated the Philippine Normal University, the Center for Teacher Education here in the Philippines, and this institution molded me as a teacher and ignite my passion in teaching, and also to love my craft, particularly in physical education and also special education. So, but this pandemic, it um this pandemic made me realize a lot of things in terms of my teaching career, because okay, as years go by, during my teaching career and my molding my craft as a teacher, so there are a lot of problems I encountered, particularly in terms of mental health, and also sometimes the passion that I have, especially during the times that I'm in my first year of teaching, they were all gone. Okay, totally no, they were all gone, and I don't need to prepare my lessons already. I'm not interested in working and teaching my students. But this pandemic helped me to realize and um, um, reflect all the things that I experienced over the past years. And what I realized there is that I need only to ignite this passion again that quite lost sometimes. And I was so very convenient and not ready in presenting my lessons to my students. So I have to change my outlook in life also as a teacher, to prepare again and to ignite this passion that I need to be inspired again by this student. So I have to work on, okay, during the online session, our online classes, to think and to be creative again in creating and delivering my lessons or my instructional materials to my students, because this pandemics made me realize a lot of things, that life is short and we have to share a lot of things to our students, and this is the time that we need to give our 100% to them, because I still believe that they are our future leaders, and they will make a lot of difference, and they will be part of our to make our society more sustainable and help our next or the future generations, okay, to be independent and globally competitive students in the future. So in this time, I spend a lot of time in this time of pandemic. I spend a lot of attending webinars, how to develop my strategies and my pedagogies. I attended some write-ups again in curriculum development, and also write-up in the lesson exemplars. So also I conducted a lot of, although it's pandemic, it's lockdown here in Manila, but there are some restrictions and safety protocols policies here, but I still conducted a lot of outreach programs where I can still help those people who are in need, especially those indigenous people, okay, who don't have any gadgets to conduct online classes. So we raise money for them so that we can give them or donate some gadgets for them to use in their online classes, and also internet or pocket Wi-Fi for them to use in the mountains. And also I struggle in terms of dealing with the dealing my students in teaching online classes, because I cannot see all of them, right? And I have to get their attention all throughout the session. And I don't, most of them, okay, they are not opening their cameras. I don't know what they are doing behind those cameras. And I really don't know also that if they're listening or they really catch or understand what I'm talking about my lesson. It's particularly that I'm teaching physical education, and most of our topics is more on practical sessions. So I need to spend more time in looking at the internet, what are the activities that can be delivered online, particularly in my practical sessions, because I'm teaching sports and physical education. So teaching skills online is very hard. Okay, so and most of my students doesn't have strong internet connection, so they're not able to see me sometimes, and most of them are not attending my online classes. So I have to create also a modular type or modality or module for them, and deliver these modules to their houses, because most of them that doesn't have gadgets to attend my online classes. As a global teachers, of course, made me realize, because during those times that I'm still young and very idealistic as a teacher, so I'm more on particular in giving high grades to the students. But now I realize that it is more important to share the values and the values and to our students, not merely focusing on the grades that they're going to get in my subject or receive in my subject. So I believe that it is sole indicator of the person's potential, or the student's potential, is for the making be a valuable contributors of our society. So that's my main goal right now as a physical educator. And I know as a teacher, we have a big role to transform our world and particularly our society, okay, and make them realize that they have a huge potential in contributing to the nation building. Okay, right now, so I'm still working on my strategies and how I'm going to teach my students effectively and efficiently. And I think we need more like this educational endeavor, that we share our experiences with each other all over the world, because there are a lot of experiences or stories from other teachers, okay, from other countries, that we can also adapt here adapt in your respective localities or respective countries, that you think you can use that
Yeah.
also in your
In your
country. So something. Sorry, sir. I'm backing. Okay, but anyway, so to end, I still believe that teaching is a very rewarding profession, and there are a lot of things that you need to explore. You need to connect also to other people for you to learn, and also you need to share, okay, what you have learned. So to all global teachers out there who attended this conference, thank you very much. And of course, let us continue inspiring each other and encourage each other to learn from each other also. Thank you very much, Professor Resh, and also Dr. Everyone.
Thanks, Anna. That was a really great, powerful story. Then I think my take home from your message is, I personally also feel the pandemic has humbled us, has sort of given us a new perspective on how we need to see teaching as a concept and as manifestation, and to appreciate it, because I think most of us, we teach every single day. It becomes quite complacent, and we go, whoa, new environment, it's time to render some new changes. And how do we administer those changes and keep those students engaged through a new foreign environment? So it's difficult, but I think we all have, I suppose, an inner passion and that intrinsic motivation to help students, to guide them back to the path where they should be. So thanks to the Anna. Great comments. All right, guys, I'm really conscious of the time here, and it's actually 3 o'clock morning in Adelaide, Australia at the moment, and I'm falling half asleep. So let's go through the next participant. But if you can keep your short story a bit shorter, that would be lovely, please. Let's now go to Melissa from Philippines as well. Melissa.
Yes, so good morning. Good morning. This is Melissa Pahian Ramirez from the Philippines, of course. It is 12:17 in the morning. Good afternoon to other countries and good evening. So once again, from the Philippines, so I started my teaching journey way back 2003 after I graduated Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English, 2002. My video that I passed in GFTE before, I just told my story that my first time of application was really a sad story. Since then, I was not hired, sadly. So it was in the public school. So I cried a lot. But then I told myself I don't need to surrender yet. So I applied in the capital of the Philippines, Manila, because I wanted to be different, as I said. So I was hired as English for a second language teacher. I taught a different nationalities, Koreans, Japanese, Chinese, and I teach English, basic English, advanced grammar. I also teach a TESOL and IELTS. I was happy during my 5 years. Actually, I felt during my young stage, my young years in teaching, that I was fulfilled because it was really my dream to teach foreigner students, one of my biggest dreams. But then after 5 years, I told myself I wanted more. I wanted to teach a Filipino student. So while having my master's degree in 2009, so one of my professors stopped me when I was reporting. I was in the middle of my report, and then he told me that, would you like to apply in this institution as a professor, as an instructor? And I was shocked. So I told him that I haven't got any experience in teaching undergraduate students yet. And he said, you will just be going to try it first. And fortunately, I became one of the professors in that institution. And after 5 years, I had this offer in graduate school. And they said that if I would want to teach in the graduate school, and then the door is open for me. So I was really happy. Mondays to Fridays, I was teaching undergraduate students. I'm teaching business English. I am teaching a curriculum development, philosophy, grammar, and the like. And then during the Saturdays and Sundays, I was teaching philosophy for the graduate schools and some of the English as subjects. So, but you know what? If something is in our hearts, you will not forget it. And my first love is teaching in the public school. And the institution told me, if you are going to leave, and then where are you going to go? I told them, I will go to my first love. And my first love is teaching public students in public school. So I was so nervous, actually, because I had the trauma already. But then, in God's grace, I was really, upon application, I was hired. It was one of the best moments in my life. But then, during my first day in a public school, I was preparing my stuff, my equipment, my projector. In the Philippines, as you can see, public schools are not all blessed. Okay, we are lacking of equipments and the like. So I brought my own equipments, my materials. So I was just like preparing my materials for teaching, and then one of the teachers just like approached me. Mom Melissa, what are you doing? I told her, I'm just preparing my stuff. Oh, let me remind you that this building has no electricity. So I was a little bit shocked. What do you say? What did you say? Electricity? There's no electricity in this building? I kept on asking her, and then she said, yes, there
Well,
is no electricity. So after that, I think one of the struggles I made in my life during the public school teaching is that I need to do something. It doesn't mean that there's no electricity, I will not do anything. So I went to the blackboard, get some chalk, and started teaching. At the end of the day, I almost cried. Why? I saw the appreciation in their eyes. And I felt full. My heart was full. Okay, so this pandemic in the Philippines that we're experiencing now, we're struggling because we are in the modular approach. We print modules, we distribute modules, we check, we record, and a lot of things. But since I love what I am doing, so those things are all struggles that I may overcome. In God's grace, since then that teaching is my passion, God will help me. God is with me. And I'm hoping that another conference, hundreds of conference will come across this way. So Dr. Munir Musa and Professor Resh, thank you very much for this opportunity. God bless us all.
Thank you, Melissa. It's just so beautiful to hear your story. It almost felt like I was listening from God Himself. It was really quite powerful. So, and what was so amazing in your story was that your love for teaching is it's commendable. It just goes to show how much you have, how passionate you are, and how devoted you are for teaching. And no matter the obstacles, you make it work. You made it work, and that showed to me your pure service to the students, but service as well to your profession with sincerity and honesty and integrity. And I've seen lots of teachers these days lacking integrity, but what you've just explained to me is an epitome of integrity. So thank you for doing amazing things and for emancipating the lives of those students who I'm sure are very grateful immensely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All
Thank you.
right, let's go to Neha from Turkey. Neha from Turkey.
Yeah, are you there?
I hope I'm audible.
Ooh,
But first of all, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever
hi
in the world
Neha.
you. Okay, so I am Neha Jara, a Tanzanian born and partially Pakistani, and I'm an aspiring teacher. And at the moment, I'm doing my A levels in Turkey as a private candidate. And I have this unlimited passion for teaching because my mother is a teacher and I have seen her teaching in different online schools and offline schools practically. And it was something that I enjoyed. I used to watch her teach because when I was young, many students used to come to our place for tuition. And at that time, I realized that this is something that I want to do. I had a different choices between careers, but I still chose teaching because that is something I would love to do for all of my life. Because I believe that teachers are the building the blocks of a better future of a child. Because a child is someone who requires more effort so that they can have a better future. I have taught different, not much of many students. I have taught some students in an NGO, and here in Turkey I taught my brother and his friends mathematics. So I have an interest as a mathematics teacher and an English teacher. So I have taken part in different webinars and MOCs, and I'm doing different webinars in teaching associations over here in Turkey, and I have this I would love to teach forever. And I have done so many extra activities as a teacher would do. I've read from the materials that my mother has prepared, and that's something I would love to do. Over here in Turkey, in Maldives, so forever I have studied, I have realized that this era is changing completely. Everyone is mostly getting tablets, laptops, and they're allowed to bring mobile phones in school. And basically, due to the pandemic and before the pandemic, there was some time that everything has changed. Everything was spread online. I have realized now that even right now, when the schools are opened in Turkey, they are still online because my brother is going to school and I can check his online progress and everything is easier. But teaching online has a bit of its own difficulties as you never know what the student is doing behind the camera. So we need to be a bit focused and we should have something to be planned so that the students can take interest in teaching, in studying, and everything goes well. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Global Forum. I will never forget this. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Neha. I have to say, I was very inspired from your video when I watched it on YouTube about your mother, where you mentioned about your mother and your teaching journey. And I was going to ask you, can you tell us a bit more about your mother and your teaching journey? Just give us a bit more information as to why does your mother play such an important role in your life in helping you to become a teacher? What's the most important lesson that she has taught you? Your microphone is turned off.
My mother,
Yeah.
my mother has taught me that students are at the peak since I prefer teaching elementary from grade 1 to 5. At that point, students are at the peak of where the interest of teaching is built. So when students used to come to my place to study from her, I used to see that the students are usually involved in playing with the toys that I used to have. So that was the thing. At that time, I realized that students in these grades should have more being focused in teaching because in studying, because at that point they need to learn things that are going to help them in future, and they should not waste their time. My mother was usually an elementary teacher, just the way I want to be, and this is the only main thing that I have learned from her. Teach students the way you want your child to be taught.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Neha. Very inspiring in there, and I love how you bring your mother in this narrative, and your mother has guided you with your passion because, like you, my mother is behind my journey as well. All the scolding, I'm not sure about you guys, but Indian mothers take the belt and they belt us when you're naughty, and they cane us, and this is all in Australia. So this is in this country. In this country, corporal punishment is seen as a sin, but in my home, they would say, "You're Indian, shut up and get the belting." So my mother has belted me, has caned me, has smacked me, but all those smackings and beatings, if I look back and go, you know what, it's shaped me the person I am today. So what you're saying is so powerful because my mother and my grandmother is behind my story as well. So thanks for that, Neha. Great, powerful story. All right, okay, the next person is Diana. Diana from Romania. So Diana from Romania. Diana? I can't see Diana on the screen. Let's move on to Hidayor Noor from Indonesia. I can't see a Hidayor as well from Indonesia. Okay, well, the last person on the list is a very special guest for today, which is Dr. Sajiva. Please tell us about your story as the final speaker for this conference today. Oh, your microphone is muted, Dr. Sajiva. I can't hear your voice. It's muted.
Yeah. Thank you so much for inviting me as the special guest to this forum. Professor Rish, I ask for the permission of sharing my screen because it will be much more effective if I show the witness, because this is how I have planned earlier to share my screen. Would you let me share the screen?
I'm really sorry, but Dr. Mosa's directive is not to share the screen, and he's with me right now on this platform, and that's his directive, to not share the screen, because it might impact the recording.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay. Okay. Guys, I started my teaching career in 1995, and this is my 20 years of service to the Ministry of Education. I joined as a teacher of English and worked in difficult areas, war-torn areas. I was not sure of my life. I could teach the small kids, very poor, unprivileged children in remote areas for like 8 years. Then I could get a transfer to my hometown. And after that, in 2009, I was able to get a promotion as a lecturer of English, or in other words, a teacher educator. As a teacher educator, I have been working at the Teachers College more than 13 years. Teaching to kids and teaching to teachers, two different type levels of teachers, pedagogy plus the andragogy. But it's not easy, right? Once you are going to have, it's kind of a turning point in my life. Then while I was working at the Teachers College, I was given a scholarship. I was awarded the very best scholarship from the Chinese government, and I was able to read my PhD in education, specialized in higher education. In my teaching career, I had to undergo a lot of barriers, challenges, strains, difficulties. It's everything is not given with a silver tray, right? Oh, overcoming all the barriers, I was able to reach the level that I am standing now, right? I strongly believe that man's prime duty is to serve for the mankind. I do practice it. And also, I strongly believe, and always I used to tell to my students, right, what Bill Gates says. If you are born poor, it's not your problem, right? But if you die poor, it's your problem. So, to my teachers, I always advise, if you join the profession as a teacher, it's not your problem. That is the place where you start your career. But if you get your retirement as a teacher, that is your problem. There are ways and means, lot of opportunities where you can reach for the higher levels. You should have a goal. You should work for the goal. Every day you need to think and spend for your goal until you reach to the goal. So in my career, I am a person, I'm a very busy bee, if I tell you frankly, because I'm engaging with many organizations, societies, volunteer organizations, especially, and I have helped several people to obtain their PhDs in other countries through my contacts. Those are the victories that I reach. And in working with the teachers, we do believe that the children are the lifeblood of the nation, right? It's not easy to, it's not just working as a clerk, working as a teacher, serving as a teacher. It's much more, what shall I say? It's something very deep, it should be within your soul, right? You should have a passion for teaching. I always advise my teachers not to join the profession if you don't love the profession, right? Because in my country, the education system, once you are unable to enter to the university, the next path is to become a teacher. Once after getting the 3-year teacher training, I do advise all the teachers on their first day, please do not join the profession unless you love for it. Please love wholeheartedly. Your 3 domains, cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. What we do believe as teachers, your affective domain is the most important thing, right? Even if you are preparing a person who have the uh, skills or competencies which are matching to the 21st century. You may talk about 4 C's: creativity, collaboration, critical thinking, and cooperation, and your life skills, your soft skills, your 3R, reading, writing, and arithmetic. But if you are, it's just that you are preparing a robot. That robot should have a heart, which should feel the people's feelings. You should, because we do mostly consider the IQ. Why IQ? Why not talk about the EQ, emotional quotient? How well this guy can work with the society, collaborate in the group work, how much with the child is flexible enough to cooperate with others. So what I do believe is that to become a teacher, it's not easy. Even if you become a teacher, to become a good teacher, it's not that much easy, right? You have to incorporate certain qualities as a good teacher. You have to be a role model, right? If you are not a role model, will they follow you? Never at all, of course. So to the budding teachers, to the teachers in the world, that I request kindly to become a good teacher. First, you need to empower yourself in technology, all the qualities, perhaps the knowledge which is relevant to the current in the 4th industrial revolution. If you are not, you are outdated. So please be updated all the time in all the factors. So finally, I would like to suggest, please, as teachers have to learn daily. Day by day, they need to update their knowledge, right? So that to become a good teacher, please have a passion, please apply what you practice, right? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Sajiva. That was brilliant, Dr. Sajiva. And I like what you mentioned about the importance of emotional intelligence and also IQ as well, because I think as teachers, having good self-awareness is very important, and how we use self-awareness to help us to turn those experiences into teachable moments and to help us to continue to innovate ourselves and to augment ourselves and to always be on the edge of knowledge. When someone says to me, I'm an expert, I tell them you're stupid. No one is an expert. We are forever learning every single day. So one thing I've got from your message is that we need to be on the edge of knowledge, always remaining curious and eager to learn or relearn different ways of doing things as we model ourselves to the students to be innovative, adaptive, but most importantly to improvise as needed. Thank you for that. Thank you, guys. So this sort of comes to the end of the conference now. Before I share the attendance sheet, I would like to just sort of a few things. So from here on, there'll be 3 top stories that will be picked, okay, and will be announced next week by Dr. Mosa. And the 3 top stories will receive a special certificate and gift All right, so you will know who the winners are next week, okay? And it's going to be a very tough job for myself and Dr. Mosa because all of you are exceptional in your own way. You all are. So it's going to be very tricky. And I want to say this to all of you. If you don't make it to the top 3, that does not mean that you are not a good teacher or your story is not worthy of attention and acknowledgement. Just remember what's important is it starts and ends with you. Let that fire grow bigger and bigger and bigger as it propels you into a new dimension of life, into a different arena of life. So don't be discounted or don't feel compromised if you don't win the award. I want you to take this opportunity as a way to augment your understanding and to learn from this. I'll be honest with you, I've learned so much from everyone's story, more so than I've learned from my own degree. I've learned more from talking to you guys, just sharing this narrative. So I'm going to share the attendance form now on the text box, okay, which will be live for 20 minutes. Please click on that link and submit your attendance, okay? And yes, I want to just say to all of you, thank you for your time again and for your commitment. Most of us, it's been a long day today for most of us. I can see some of us are falling asleep, and that includes myself. I've got to lecture tomorrow morning at 5. I've got to be out of the home at 6 o'clock tomorrow, and it's 3:30 my time. My lecture tomorrow is at 8 in the morning, so I'm going to be a zombie tomorrow. It's going to be funny, but that's okay. But as teachers, we're used to all of this. There's echo going in the background. All right. So guys, so please visit our Facebook page as well after 24 hours to find a folder with all your certificates of attendance. Okay, so please log on. Please submit your attendance now. No link here. Dr. Mosa has just sent the link again on the text box. Has it come through, everyone? And any one of you, like Anna, or any one of you who wants to reach out to me, you can go through Dr. Mosa, okay?
Yes, sir.
Just email him or text me or text him, or you can find my details in the PowerPoint slide either. Whatever, I'm pretty open. Perhaps it might be useful to go through Dr. Mosa first, and then he can refer you on to me, okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you all.
I have the link for the form, and I want to quote.
The link's not working, Salma?
Yes, I want to share one thing. I want to quote Muhammad Ali Jinnah over here that to win, it is the effort that counts.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's the efforts and the continued dedication that counts. That's right. That's right. All of us are leaders in our own right. We are. Because everyone's story, it was very clear to me. It depicts that you are a leader in your own right, and you lead from the heart. So that's the most important thing, So I think, so winning or not winning, we're all winners from this conference. We all are our own natural born winners and warriors as we conquer education spaces, but also as we educate future teachers on how education should be administered and thought. All right. So as the link come online on the Zoom GoToMeetings text box. I'm so used to teaching on Zoom. I just keep saying Zoom. Okay, attendance done. All right, that's brilliant. Thank you, Ali, for that. Thank you, Takdis. Thank you, Lenny. Thank you, Sarah. So once you're finished,
You're welcome.
you can. I wonder who was that. Thanks, Abhishek. Thank you. Thanks, Neha. Thanks, Lorna. Thanks, Sabah.
You all are very welcome. Good night. Good night.
Good night, Dr. Sajiva. Take care. Thanks for your words of wisdom. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yep. Thanks, Salima. All right, once you finish with your attendance, you can sign off. I will wait for you guys to leave, and then I'll need to press stop recording. Dr. Mosar has just reiterated in the text box. Please
Bye, guys.
visit the
Bye. Take
Facebook
care.
page. Bye, Mohammed. So please visit the Facebook page after 24 hours to find a folder with all your certificates.
Thank you, Dr. Munir. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Anna. Take care. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye. Thank you, Salima. So are you. You are also an altruistic human being as well. So when you're finished, you can sign off, guys, from the go-to meeting. That's fine. Thank you, Asma. Lovely to have you. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Bye.
Prophet.
See you, Melissa. Take care and stay blessed.